welcome you to Zodiac Zone, your go-to destination for 30 minutes of astrological session every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. As a seasoned evolutionary astrologer, my mission is to guide my clients and you to the mysteries of your soul purpose. Why are you here? What ignites you? And what can bring you to your highest vibration? And really, what brings you true happiness? So let's dive into the format of our show. First, we'll explore the astrological highlights of the week. Then I'll be conducting live readings on air. And to top it off, during the last week of each month, we'll feature a special guest who will enlighten us about their unique modality. And in some cases, its correlation with astrology. So sit tight and prepare for an enriching journey through the stars. So let's talk about last week. It was a pretty intense solar eclipse in Aries. I had a lot of people ask me exactly what is a solar eclipse and what does it mean in astrology? Well, let me give you what it means from an astrological perspective. Okay, so it's the alignment of the sun, moon, and earth, and it obscures a typical transmission of light. And what it actually does is it weakens the influence of the sun and the moon. So it makes a very unfavorable time for energy of invoking rituals like that ones that are particularly performed during new or full moons. And just to kind of give you a little bit of insight on that, a new moon means new beginning. So if you're looking to do something new, like start a new business, a new partnership, anything new, do it during a new moon. And a full moon is about endings. So if you want to end a certain cycle or a certain time in your life and release energy, do it during a full moon. So the reason why last week's solar eclipse was so powerful is the sun, moon, and Chiron were all in Aries. So people are like, well, what does that mean, Melissa? Well, basically, the sun is your conscious self. That is what you show the world. And most people know their sun signs and they relate a lot to their sun signs. But the chart is an alignment of all the planets. So your sun sign is a very small part of your chart. So that is your conscious self. You have the moon, which is your unconscious self. That is what you feel down deep inside. That's unconscious. And then you have Chiron, which is actually an asteroid in Greek mythology. Chiron was referred to as the wounded healer. And there's a whole backstory about Chiron. He was a centaur, which is half man, half horse, and he was immortal. So what happened to him is he had to consistently live in his wounds, and until he got released from his wounds, he was doing the same thing all the time within the wound. And like I said, there's a whole backstory about how he existed in these wounds. And we have this, every single one of us has this in our charts. So whether these wounds come in from childhood or these wounds are coming from a past life, it's not until we overcome these wounds that we understand really the meaning of life and really the happiness that we're here to become. You know, I believe we come to Earth to release these attachments. And my definition of Earth is like, it's almost like Disneyland for the soul. That you get to come into Earth, you get to go into a body, and you get to have all these experiences. You're not just a spectator on the side in an energy form, that you get to actually experience all this stuff. So back to the sun, moon, and Chiron and Aries. Why it's so powerful and so important is Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and it indicates the first house in everyone's astrological chart. And it really refers to thyself, the body. So, what this eclipse did was it initiated new beginnings, self discovery, and profound healing within all of us. That's why it is so powerful, because it's dealing with us and how we relate to our wounds, how we are the opposite. The polarity of Aries is Libra. So the whole lunar node axis, lunar nodes being the elliptical points in the sky. So we come in from the south node, and we're trying to get to the north node. So, like I said, the opposite of Aries is Libra. So, the axis is us versus relationships, and how we need to all stand in our own power. So, that's why this is all so powerful. I tried to break it down to make it very simple. But as most of you know, astrology is a very complex language. So let's get to this week. We on Saturday are going to have a very special astrological event. It's Jupiter conjuncting Uranus in Taurus. So the conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus is said to be one of the most intense days of the 2024 astrological calendar. It's a very rare event. It happens, Jupiter conjunct Uranus happens once every about 12 to 14 years. The reason why I say 12 to 14 is because all the outer planets, what I'm talking about is Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are typically in retrograde about 50% of the time. So the last time that Jupiter and Uranus aligned in Taurus was in 1941, so roughly 83 years ago. And that's when World War II began. So it's very it's very intense. It's very intense. And it doesn't have to be that way this year, but anything can happen. And what Taurus does is it opens up us to new experiences. So just wanted to make you aware of that. Saturday can be a pretty intense time. You know, it doesn't have to be a very negative time. It could be a very positive time, but either way, it's going to be very, very intense. So that is astrologically what is going on. And just wanted to kind of give you an indication of, you know, what you can expect for this week, and wanted to also tell you about you know, the eclipse, because I feel like the eclipse season is very important for people, and people get really confused by it, and they just don't know what to do about it. So another thing I wanted to talk about when I talk about the lunar nodes is that I wanted to say that everybody has the lunar nodes in their chart. And that's how I read my charts, is looking at the lunar nodes. And I find that it's a very transformational experience when you understand who you are, because you come in from that south node, and that south node is energy that feels very comfortable, but it's not always for your best and greatest experience in this lifetime. And really, the mission is to get to that north node. And like I said, it could be your south node could be in for example, my south node is in Libra, and I'm trying to get to the Aries. So the Aries is all about standing in my power, not being a people pleaser, and really trying to figure out and how to lead things and not to be the supporting cast of of people in my lifetime. So it's really about you leaning in. Um, yes. And as far as Chiron, it's like I said, like I mentioned earlier, it's about the wounds. And so now we have Angela from New York City.
Hi. Hi.
Hi, how are you? Welcome to Zodiac Zone.
Oh, thank you.
So I want to go ahead and give you a short reading. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm an evolutionary astrologer, and I really do charts. I want to help people find their life purpose and talk about the wounds that they can overcome in this lifetime.
Oh, thank you.
So let me go ahead and put in your information here into my program. What is your last name or last initial of your
B,
last name?
B for boy.
Okay, awesome. And day, month, year you were born.
Okay, 7/3/1951.
Okay, July 3rd, 1961.
Yes,
1961. And what is the time you were born?
I don't know. Never.
Do you have an approximate or?
I know it was in the morning.
Okay. Um, it really helps to have the time, and I'll tell you why. Because the planets, depending on what degrees they are, they can shift into different houses every couple minutes, every 30 minutes. And that's why the chart could look very different if you don't, have the exact time. The way to get the exact time is you can go online to vital statistics from the county that you were born. And what you do is you order the long form, and the long form would have your birth time on it. I mean, we could try this, but I'm always fearful that I want it to be as accurate as it can be for people. And sometimes when they hear things, that's what they have in their mind. So if you want to, get that information and call back in at another time,
Okay.
whatever you feel inclined to
Well, you
do.
know what? You can just give it a shot. Just see what happens.
Okay. What in the morning calls to you? Like if, what is the time that calls to you?
I think I'm trying to remember what my mom. I think she had said it was early in the morning, like 4, 10 o'clock.
Like 4 a.m., 5 a.m.?
Yeah, like pretty early.
Okay. We can try 5:11 a.m.
Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. 5:11 a.m. Would that work?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Try that.
City and state you were born.
In Manhattan, New York City.
Manhattan. I was born there
Yeah.
too.
in the village.
Okay. Yep, I would left when I was like 7 years old, so I grew up in South Florida. But
Yeah.
okay, Angela. Now, I do preface by saying that because we don't know the exact time, that this could be a little bit off. And if you feel that this is a little bit off, I would say definitely get that birth time. But we'll go ahead and try it for tonight.
Okay.
Okay. So your south node now, I'm gonna explain, I'm gonna talk astrology, but I'm gonna explain what it means in, in regular English.
Mhm.
Your south node is in Aquarius and it's in the eighth house. And eighth house is all things mysterious. It's house of the occult. It's house of psychology. It's house of transformation. So that is your eighth house. Your south node is in Aquarius in the eighth house. Your north node is in Leo and it's in the second house. Second house
Okay.
is your self worth, your money, anything around that. The houses, by the way, can mean 20, 30, 40 different things, but they have the general statement of what they mean, of what most astrologers know what they, kind of go
Mhm.
to what they mean. So I would say and you have also, and again, this could be a little bit altered because of the time, but it looks like in this chart you have a yod. A yod is referred to an aspect. It's almost like a spiritual
Hello?
assignment. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me? Okay. So when you have the south node in Aquarius, one tends to be in their mind all the time. Do you feel like that, Angela? Do you feel like you're in your mind all the time?
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear
Yes,
me?
Marissa? Yes.
Yep, I am here.
Okay.
Um,
I'm talking in the phone. I don't know why it isn't working.
you know why? We're in Mercury retrograde. We're in Mercury retrograde right now. Technology is just going to it's just it's impossible right now being in Mercury retrograde. Technology is
Of
going
course.
crazy.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's not you. All right.
Oh, okay.
So you're the type of person that you're in your mind all the time. You're always thinking. You have a thinking mind. And really this time in this aspect of your life, you're supposed to not be in your mind. You're supposed to more be in your heart. It's that head heart coherence. And I would say it being in the second house, it's really coming into your self worth. And, it could be possibly a lot of times a north node in Leo in the second house of Taurus could be here to build something, here to lead something. I don't know if you relate to this chart. Like I said, it's
I'm trying to.
since we
I
don't
might
know the
have to
birth.
downsize. I might have to downsize my house.
I'm sorry.
I might have to downsize my house, leave the house, smaller, home.
I would say with the sun in the first house, I feel like that you know what to do. Like you're the
Hmm.
type of person that knows what to do when you have to do things. So whatever you feel you should do because you're pretty connected to source.
Hmm.
So don't be afraid to um, stand in your power. And then I talked all about that so far. It's all about
Hmm.
standing in your power this year and do the things that are best for you.
Yes. I know that's very hard.
It is very hard. But I'll tell you what, too, and I would check your birth certificate, and if um, if you find out your exact time, please give us a call back or give me a call back.
Okay.
Okay? Have a great night, Angela. Thank you for calling.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, next we have Grace in Sydney, Australia. Hi, Grace.
Hi, Melissa. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Do you have your birth time?
I believe it's about 6 o'clock, 6 a.m. in the morning on 9th of March, 75.
Okay. I'm sorry. What is your last initial? Your name?
The date,
'Cause I have
9th of
another
March,
Grace.
75. My last initial is R for my surname.
Okay. I'm sorry, your birth date.
9th of March,
9th of March,
19,
1975.
1975.
Okay. And your time?
I believe it was
time?
around 6 a.m.
6 a.m. Okay, I'm sorry. And the place you were born, Sydney?
And yes,
Sydney. Okay. I'm trying to do this fast and okay.
that's fine.
I want to give you a righty. Okay. It's interesting. You have a very classic birth chart, meaning Aries is your first house, Taurus is your second house. That's an archetype chart. I would say you're definitely the type of person, just like our last caller, you're very much into your mind. You have Gemini in your south node. You have Sagittarius in your north node. I feel like whatever you do, you need to look at the big picture of things and not be so scattered in your mind all the time. And it's really about the big picture and finding your purpose and path. That is what your chart says to me. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, completely. I'm feeling really lost at the moment. I'm just going through a divorce and getting back into the big world, and I'm just feeling really lost as to who I am, where I am going, and what my path is supposed to be next.
Well, it's always about standing in your power and listening to that little voice.
Right.
So that is what I have for you tonight. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
Have a great night, Grace.
I appreciate it. You too.
I appreciate you as well. Well, that's all we have time for tonight in Zodiac Zone. I want to thank my two callers for calling in today. And remember, so next week, I'm very, very excited. I'm going to have my first guest, and her name is Stacy McCann, and she just wrote a book called Mind Keeping. And it's a way to almost like a computer in the fact that you want to clean up your hard drive, clean up your mind, and be in that present moment. And I'm super excited to have her as a guest next week. So please tune in, and we'll talk about mind keeping. And so that is the format of this show. Pretty much the fourth week or third week, or the last week, I should say, of the month, I will be having a guest, and we'll see also on how it correlates with astrology. So please tune in for that. And I would love to continue to do readings If any of my listeners out there have any suggestions of what they want to hear or anything that I can do to make this show better, I'm all ears. I love astrology. I think that you can use it as a tool, and I am looking forward to eventually writing my book, which I want to take this language and make it very simple and make it to use as a tool so you have it. I mean, of course, I always recommend going and having a reading done from a reputable astrologer or somebody that you trust. And the way that it works is, the way that I believe it works is, you can only have your birth chart reading once, so you know your birth chart, but each year you have what is called a yearly transit reading, where you can figure out what to focus on each year. And you'd be surprised on how accurate that birth chart is. I mean, it's, I'm sorry, the birth chart and the yearly transit chart. So that's what my clients come to me. They tell me, wow, that was amazing. Last year, we really focused on this and you helped me with this. And that's the way that I believe astrology is used. So again, I want to thank each and every one of you for listening tonight. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at my website. It is www.mmastroVibes.com. And I very much look forward to continuing this show and it getting better. And because I'm a bit of a newbie at this, but I just love the language and I want it to continue to grow and people to love astrology as much as I do.